people to nominate a colleague or a student or a manager, whatever, where they think that person's a real trailblazer.
And it's really a celebration of all that's good in midwifery and maternity care.
They recognise individuals, they recognise teams, management and educators. Anyone who values excellence and makes improvements. They are essentially a celebration of all of your achievements. So, shall we get on with it? What you do with your day-to-day lives, I just admire you hugely. If you do want to nominate a colleague, a friend, maybe yourself, please speak to the organisers and visit the website, and I really hope that we'll see you at that.
Okay, now the first award is... What's
Nothing, I don't know.
We have had a 40% caesarean section rate in the National Maternity Hospital. That is major abdominal surgery.
Around 40,000 mums did not return to work in 2022. It's even more relevant if you're a mum who's experienced birth trauma.
We spend more money on litigation than we currently spend on the maternity services. It's bonkers.
It's in all of our interests, and particularly the government, to improve maternity services.
We can't achieve our mission unless we bring parents and professionals together.
A revolution needs to happen. We need to start working together.
I know it's a hard time, but for goodness sake, it's the best profession in the world.
Be proud to be midwives, be proud of the job that we do, and continue to celebrate our successes.
Midwives make a difference to women every single day, and let's not lose that. It's more important than anything.
Welcome to Matflix, video streaming from maternity experts. My name is Dr. Jenny Hall. I am the box sets curator at Matflix, a fellow of the Royal College of Midwives and a former editor of The Practicing Midwife. At Matflix, we bring together videos of talks from top maternity experts into box sets to support your continued professional development, study and revalidation. It is a perfect study accompaniment for midwives, maternity professionals, midwifery students and anyone thinking about a career in the maternity services. My job is bringing together the latest thinking area by area so you do not have to. Not only do you get the video of brilliant talks and relevant content in thematic box sets, you also get access to the audio version so you can listen on the commute or while you walk the dog. Plus links to the latest research in the relevant field, government policy documents, the presenter's PowerPoint and more besides. Sign up to Matflix now for the best video streaming from maternity experts.
You're thinking, but I've never read about these midwives in the Bible, and that's because they didn't make it into the Gospels. Why was it that we nurses, midwives, seem so invisible to the doctors, to the media?
An amazing midwife said to me, you can't be what you haven't seen.
These are the world's most researched probiotic, and we can say that with confidence because we've done over 300 clinical trials on this little bottle of goodness.
These awards, as you know, are a celebration of achievement, effort, change, innovation, management, insight, and the many other traits necessary to sustain a proud profession like midwifery and consistent services in maternity.
We invite people to nominate a colleague or a student or a manager, whatever, where they think that person's real trailblazers.
And it's really a celebration of all that's good in midwifery and maternity care.
They recognise individuals, they recognise teams, management and educators. Anyone who values excellence and makes improvements. They are essentially a celebration of all of your achievements. So, shall we get on with it? What you do with your day-to-day lives, I just admire you hugely. If you do want to nominate a colleague, a friend, maybe yourself, please speak to the organisers and visit the website, and I really hope that we'll see you at that.
Okay, now the first award is... What's
nothing, I don't know.
We have had a 40% caesarean section rate in the National Maternity Hospital. That is major abdominal surgery.
Around 40,000 mums did not return to work in 2022. It's even more relevant if you're a mum who's experienced birth trauma.
We spend more money on litigation than we currently spend on the maternity services. It's bonkers.
It's in all of our interests, and particularly the government, to improve maternity services.
We can't achieve our mission unless we bring parents and professionals together.
A revolution needs to happen. We need to start working together.
I know it's a hard time, but for goodness sake, it's the best profession in the world.
Be proud to be midwives, be proud of the job that we do, and continue to celebrate our successes.
Midwives make a difference to women every single day, and let's not lose that. It's more important than anything.
Welcome to Matflix, video streaming from maternity experts. My name is Dr. Jenny Hall. I am the box sets curator at Matflix, a fellow of the Royal College of Midwives and a former editor of The Practicing Midwife. At Matflix, we bring together videos of talks from top maternity experts into box sets to support your continued professional development, study and revalidation. It is a perfect study accompaniment for midwives, maternity professionals, midwifery students and anyone thinking about a career in the maternity services. My job is bringing together the latest thinking area by area so you do not have to. Not only do you get the video of brilliant talks and relevant content in thematic box sets, you also get access to the audio version so you can listen on the commute or while you walk the dog. Plus links to the latest research in the relevant field, government policy documents, the presenter's PowerPoint and more besides. Sign up to Matflix now for the best video streaming from maternity experts.
You're thinking, but I've never read about these midwives in the Bible, and that's because they didn't make it into the Gospels. Why was it that we nurses, midwives, seem so invisible to the doctors, to the media?
An amazing midwife said to me, you can't be what you haven't seen.
These are the world's most researched probiotic, and we can say that with confidence because we've done over 300 clinical trials on this little bottle of goodness.
These awards, as you know, are a celebration of achievement, effort, change, innovation, management, insight, and the many other traits necessary to sustain a proud profession like midwifery and consistent services in maternity.
We invite people to nominate a colleague or a student or a manager, whatever, where they think that person's real trailblazers.
And it's really a celebration of all that's good in midwifery and maternity care.
They recognise individuals, they recognise teams, management and educators. Anyone who values excellence and makes improvements. They are essentially a celebration of all of your achievements. So, shall we get on with it? What you do with your day-to-day lives, I just admire you hugely. If you do want to nominate a colleague, a friend, maybe yourself, please speak to the organisers and visit the website, and I really hope that we'll see you at that.
Okay, now the first award is... What's
nothing, I don't know.
We have had a 40% caesarean section rate in the National Maternity Hospital. That is major abdominal surgery.
Around 40,000 mums did not return to work in 2022. It's even more relevant if you're a mum who's experienced birth trauma.
We spend more money on litigation than we currently spend on the maternity services. It's bonkers.
It's in all of our interests, and particularly the government, to improve maternity services.
We can't achieve our mission unless we bring parents and professionals together.
A revolution needs to happen. We need to start working together.
I know it's a hard time, but for goodness sake, it's the best profession in the world.
Be proud to be midwives, be proud of the job that we do, and continue to celebrate our successes.
Midwives make a difference to women every single day, and let's not lose that. It's more important than anything.
Welcome to Matflix, video streaming from maternity experts. My name is Dr. Jenny Hall. I am the box set's curator at Matflix, a fellow of the Royal College of Midwives and a former editor of The Practicing Midwife. At Matflix, we bring together videos of talks from top maternity experts into box sets to support your continued professional development, study and revalidation. It is a perfect study accompaniment for midwives, maternity professionals, midwifery students and anyone thinking about a career in the maternity services. My job is bringing together the latest thinking area by area so you do not have to. Not only do you get the video of brilliant talks and relevant content in thematic box sets, you also get access to the audio version so you can listen on the commute or while you walk the dog. Plus links to the latest research in the relevant field, government policy documents, the presenter's PowerPoint and more besides. Sign up to Matflix now for the best video streaming from maternity experts.
You're thinking, but I've never read about these midwives in the Bible, and that's because they didn't make it into the Gospels. Why was it that we nurses, midwives, seem so invisible to the doctors, to the media?
An amazing midwife said to me, you can't be what you haven't seen.
These are the world's most researched probiotic, and we can say that with confidence because we've done over 300 clinical trials on this little bottle of goodness.
These awards, as you know, are a celebration of achievement, effort, change, innovation, management, insight, and the many other traits necessary to sustain a proud profession like midwifery and consistent services in maternity.
We invite people to nominate a colleague or a student or a manager, whatever, where they think that person's real trailblazers.
And it's really a celebration of all that's good in midwifery and maternity care.
They recognise individuals, they recognise teams, management and educators. Anyone who values excellence and makes improvements. They are essentially a celebration of all of your achievements. So, shall we get on with it? What you do with your day-to-day lives, I just admire you hugely. If you do want to
And good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's Maternity and Midwifery Hour. Now, you'll notice I'm not in the right place. I haven't really cleared out all my books. I'm in a borrowed place today because the internet has died in my locality. So I hope everything will go very well. It's lovely to be here with you. My name's Sue MacDonald, and I'm the curator for the Maternity and Midwifery Festivals and the Maternity and Midwifery Hours, and it's my pleasure to be chairing this session today, which is week 3 of the 19th series of Maternity and Midwifery Hour. And tonight we're joined by Alicia Burnett, and I'm, just as I always do, I'm going to ask if she's got a lovely moment of the week to share with us. So welcome, Alicia. Thank you so much for coming this evening.
Thank you so much, Sue. Before I share my moment of the week, I want to say thank you for inviting me on. It's like coming home.
Oh.
I remember when I first came on as a student, I didn't have any hair back then. And it was COVID and we were student midwives during COVID, and it was just a crazy time. It's still a crazy time. Things have changed, but not necessarily for the best. My moment of the week is yesterday, and watching those student midwives protesting and getting news coverage, because I was a mouthy student. I was, you know that. I think most people know that. And I love that that tradition is continuing, because if we're not going to be vocal as students, we're not going to be vocal as midwives, and that's so important.
Absolutely.
So my moment of the week was yesterday, and watching all of the coverage. And Fund Future Midwives is a fantastic organisation, a student-led organisation, and I couldn't be more proud.
Fantastic. And it's lovely that you were there, because that was going to be on my news bit, to say that the event was held yesterday. Parliament Fields, wasn't it?
I wasn't there. I didn't manage to be there yesterday, but I watched everything that I could.
That's even better. They've got coverage.
Yes.
That's what we need. And it's really important for those of you listening to really keep contact with this, because the situation is really awful. And we were talking about that before we came on, that all of us as midwives, when we're working with the mums and babies and with families, we're very conscious there's not enough time, there's not enough of us. And yet there seems to be a problem about getting jobs for brand new, lovely student midwives, full of knowledge and skills, and we need to hold on to them, we need to look after them. So just, if you haven't signed the petition, please find the resources, which aren't there yet, but they will be, and sign the petition, because the more I think the numbers are quite good now, getting up there. So thank you so much, Alicia. Now I'm just going to just remind all of you. Now, some of you are old friends who've come this evening, and some of you are brand new. And if you're brand new, you'll know that the Maternity and Midwifery Hour started 6 years ago. I can't believe it. And really, Alicia has sort of underlined it because, of course, that was right at the beginning of COVID, when we couldn't do things like study days, conferences, or festivals because everything was focused on the clinical care and it was concentrated because that's where it had to be. And also, student midwives had to be moved around to make sure they were safe while getting the experience that they needed to become midwives. And we felt it was really important to have something for midwives just to connect once a week, just for an hour, and have a sort of concentrated midwife moment to connect with each other, ask questions. And at that point, we talked a lot about COVID. We don't do so much of that now. It's sort of receded into the background a little bit. But we talk about things that are important to midwives and midwifery students and to mothers and babies and families, because that's what makes us all tick as midwives. So I also need to say to you, because it's very much on the top of my head with my technical problems, is that if you have a technical problem and if you lose your internet halfway through, don't panic, because the great thing about the Maternity and Midwifery Forum is everything is recorded, so you can access it after the time. And that goes well because you're going to learn a lot tonight, and you'll want to share it with your colleagues and people you're working with, other students. And you can do that. And we're very happy for you to share what you're learning. And it really helps if you're learning new things, and you know this, I'm sure, to kind of talk about it, because then it kind of concentrates in your mind and you understand it and you can kind of think it through and see how it fits in practice. So that's very good. The other thing is that because it's all recorded, we keep this huge back catalogue of presentations. So if for those of you who are students doing courses and having to do essays, assignments, if you're doing a project for work, a sort of practice development thing, dissertation, anything you like, you can access the Matflix catalogue and look at things. It's a very accessible way of getting up-to-date information because you have wonderful people like Alicia sharing her knowledge and her skills. It's just such a lovely way to learn new things. And I'm going to also say, look after yourselves, because it is a difficult time. We know it's a difficult time in midwifery and maternity care. There's a lot of media attention and it's not necessarily very positive. We know, on the day-to-day, you have lovely experiences, you're looking after mums and babies and it's going well. But if you're seen outside as not being as good as you know you are, that's very difficult for us as midwives to take. We do our best each and every day. So look after yourselves and look after your students and your colleagues as well. Now, yesterday was the International Day of the Midwife. And it was a lovely day. And again, I was saying to Alicia, it was so nice to see so many images of midwives and student midwives, mums and babies, midwives doing what they do, not just in the UK, but elsewhere in the world. And I'm sure we've got people from not just the UK joining us this evening. So to you, welcome, and I hope you enjoy this evening and find it useful. Now, there's still a call for 1 million more midwives. And I'm afraid that not all for here. This is for the whole world. And it's known that midwives and midwifery care is the biggest tool of improving maternity care, improving maternal and perinatal outcomes. So that's really important. And we need those midwives, because midwives retire. Midwives leave the service and we need to keep replacing them. But also there's a lot of countries who don't have many midwives and we need to grow those as well. Now, the other thing that's in the news I noticed was this talk about people teaching about baby sleep. There's been a BBC investigation which showed that there were some sleep experts who were not necessarily providing good evidence-based information. So have a look at the Lullaby Trust, which has some superb information on safe sleeping. And this really is very useful for us as midwives to know and students to know, and also for mums and families, because it can be very difficult when you're a new mum. There's so much to learn. It's very scary being in charge of this small human. And just that, all the resources you can share with mums. It was good that on the TV reports they were talking about, well, ask your midwife, ask your health visitor and your GP, whatever. But the simple things of having your baby lying on their back, using firm, flat, waterproof surface and keeping the sleep space clear, not with all the soft toys, too many soft toys around the baby. Okay, that's for safe sleep. Then there's a really interesting leadership program being provided by the Royal College of Midwives in November, and it's starting for people who are band 6 to 7. It is at a cost, but it might be worth looking at that. And again, I put the link on the resources. Have a look and see if your trust might well support you. Sell yourselves. Get there. It's a really good program. Also, and well done to Leah Hazard and the team who also were highlighting the working times of midwives and how that's quite bad for some midwives in some areas. And it's been handed into Downing Street yesterday. And well done to the team there. And so have a look at the information there. Now tonight, I'm speaking very quickly. I need to get on to Alicia now and her presentation. We're going to hear about Black and mixed Black heritage women in the UK, how they experience pregnancy and infant loss at higher rates than their white counterparts. And in response to these disparities, midwife Alicia Burnett launched the Black Baby Loss Awareness Week in 2023. I can't believe it's that long ago, in a way. And that's a real awareness event which aims to improve Black communities' awareness of what support services are available for women and their families who are affected by pregnancy and baby loss. And now it's in its 4th year, so it's going to be next week, and Alicia's going to be very busy next week, raising awareness and meeting people. So I'm really pleased that she's able to join us this evening. She's a hugely committed midwife. You can just hear that commitment just in the way she speaks. And she's developed her focus on the needs of families from Black communities in particular, and on their needs around pregnancy loss. She's absolutely committed to build supportive and culturally sensitive networks for those affected. She's presented all over from everything from becoming a midwife and being a student midwife, and was also the first editor-in-chief on the Student Midwife Journal. And I'm delighted she's with us this evening. So without further ado, Alicia Burnett, the screen is now yours.
Thank you so much, Sue, and good evening to everybody watching. Sue makes me sound very impressive. I am a midwife and I'm also a bereaved mother. And everything I'm about to speak to you about comes from me as a midwife and also me as a bereaved mother. This is my new logo. When I first started Black Baby Loss Awareness Week, I was on Canva and I fashioned a logo of my own, but quite recently we had a brand refresh. We've come so far that we've had a brand refresh and this is my new logo. I'm very proud of it, so it's all over this presentation. What I'm going to be covering today are the racial disparities in perinatal loss, and then I will go on to speak about Black Baby Loss Awareness Week 2026. I've moved away from focusing so much on the statistics around baby loss within Black communities, because I think by now, most people are aware of them. Not everybody, but a lot of people are aware of them. And certainly Black families are aware of them. So I don't focus on them so much. I'm just going to go over them super briefly. And primarily, this presentation is going to be about Black Baby Loss Awareness Week because I've got a lot to tell you and I'm very excited about it. So the scale of the problem. When I was a student midwife, I wasn't aware that there was a problem regarding baby loss within Black communities. I had no clue. I trained from 2017 to 2021. So I took a bit longer to incubate than other student midwives. But during that time, I became aware of the 5 times more statistic, but I really wasn't aware that there were any statistics in relation to baby loss in Black and mixed Black heritage communities. So when I did qualify in 2021, that's when I really became aware of statistics and facts like this. That Black women have an increased risk of miscarriage. In the Lancet a number of years ago now, I'm very curious to find out what the most recent data is around this. But in that series, they stated that Black women had a 43% increased risk of miscarriage than their white counterparts. That Black Caribbean and Black African babies have the highest stillbirth rates. Black neonates are 50% more likely to die than white neonates, and that's because they're more likely to be extremely or moderately premature, as this slide shows. I also used to be a pediatric nurse, so I've done a number of placements in the neonatal unit as a student nurse and as a student midwife, and I wasn't aware either time that Black babies are more likely to be premature. And now that I reflect upon it, a lot of the babies that I did care for during those placements were Black and mixed Black heritage. The course is 3 years long. You can't hope to learn everything there is to know. But things like this, I wish more students and more lecturers and more midwives were aware of. And that's why I'm sitting here tonight. I do quite a bit. I do a fair bit, but I'm not the best at tooting my own horn. So I've shied away from coming on here. Sue's asked me numerous times and I've just not done it because I can be quite shy and I can be reluctant to speak about the work that I do, but I'm doing a disservice to the communities that I'm doing this for if I am shying away and not actually speaking about the reasons why I'm doing this work. So Black Baby Loss Awareness Week started in 2023. It runs in May because my son died in May. And May is a time of year where typically the sun shines a bit brighter. I remember the day of his funeral, it had been raining previously, but that day the sun came out for him. And it's a time of year that I do think about him a lot. And in honour of him, I wanted Black Baby Loss Awareness Week to fall during May. But with initiatives like Black Baby Loss Awareness Week, there is an increased awareness of the disparities that I just showed you in those slides. And I've been reflecting, and this is the reason that I don't really harp on about the stats anymore, that the impact of raising awareness of the stats can create a lot of fear. And I meet a lot of Black families that are scared that they will experience loss, or they have previously experienced loss and they're fearful it will happen again. So that's why I've pared back on sharing the stats. And what I prefer to do now is share the action that is being done to counteract those statistics. Increased awareness of the stats has also caused an increased mistrust of healthcare services. Historically, Black and mixed Black heritage communities are quite mistrustful of not just healthcare services, but institutions like the police, the justice system, institutions in general. But there have been some positives. So raising awareness has had some positive consequences. Families are now more prepared to advocate for their needs. They're aware that they're more at increased risk of adverse outcomes, so they're more likely and more prepared to advocate for themselves. And that's fantastic to see. And you have organisations like 5 Times More. They have their 6 steps to support families to advocate for their needs. I know that I've used them before myself in my own pregnancies. And I'm also seeing a rise in, not enough, mind you, there's room for more targeted interventions and targeted support at Black and mixed Black heritage communities, but I'm seeing an increase in that. So for example, SANS has Jordan Russell. She is the outreach support coordinator for Black, African and Caribbean families. So SANS have a dedicated person that puts on sessions for Black families. She arranges meetups, and they also have online sessions where bereaved Black parents can come together and share their experiences and feel not so alone. Tommy's also has its helpline for Black and mixed Black heritage families, women, birthing people, and their partners. We get everyone calling the line. I would love to see more interventions like that because they are sorely needed. While baby loss support services do exist, and they're great, they don't always feel very inclusive. I know that when I first had my bereavement, I didn't know what Baby Loss Awareness Week was, not for a long time. And it would have been my son's 8th birthday this November. And when I started Black Baby Loss Awareness Week, it would have been our 5th year without him. And I still didn't know what Baby Loss Awareness Week was. I only learned what Baby Loss Awareness Week was when I started working for Tommy's, the charity. So that wasn't accessible to me. And I remember going to a memorial service, and we were the only Black family there. I think there was one other Black family, and you, as a Black person, feeling other is quite a common phenomenon, quite a common experience. But at a time when you're so vulnerable, you don't want to feel like the odd one out. So that was the only thing I ever went to. I didn't go to anything else for years and years and years. So I'm really pleased to see that there are more targeted support and interventions for Black families because they're sorely needed. So I'm now about to tell you about Black Baby Loss Awareness Week. I mentioned before that it started in 2023. Right now I'm sitting on the floor of my daughter's bedroom, and pretty much I was sat in a similar place when I launched Black Baby Loss Awareness Week for the first time. I was sat in an armchair in my bedroom, and I started this thing on Instagram, and it was just social media based statistics and highlighting services that are supporting bereaved families. And I just did it. No strategy, really. I mocked up that little logo that I used to have on Canva, and off I went. And it's grown since then. So we don't just have a presence on social media, we have in-person events. We also have an annual webinar. We've spawned a conference, and we also now hold and host retreats for professionals that provide care and support to bereaved families. I'm going to tell you all about that in a bit, but I'm going to go through the schedule for this week. So the first day is next Monday. This year, Black Baby Loss Awareness Week runs from the 11th to the 17th of May. And the first day of Black Baby Loss Awareness Week is and will forever be, until I stop being trolled in my DMs and my email inbox about why am I doing this divisive thing, the theme will always be why Black Baby Loss Awareness Week matters. It matters because of the statistics I mentioned earlier. It matters because there is a lack of targeted support for bereaved Black families, even though Black families are more likely to suffer from baby loss. That's why it matters. Day 2, which is next Tuesday, we'll be looking at therapy after baby loss, and we will have some professionals that represent different types of therapy, sharing how to access such therapy and describing a bit about what each different type of therapy is. And it's also the day that we always have our annual perinatal loss and mental health webinar. We had this for the first time, I think, in 2024, and it's actually hosted in collaboration with King's College Hospital. And I have different people on talking about different aspects of mental health, perinatal loss, and the more niche things that you need to know. And you typically tend to find out when you encounter a family that has this niche need. So last year we looked at lactation after loss. I don't know about anyone listening, but I know that I didn't have any education about lactation after loss when I was a student. So we had Olivia Hinge, who's a fantastic midwife and IBCLC. She came on and she spoke about how to care for a bereaved woman or birthing person who's facing lactation after loss, and means and methods of lactation suppression, because it gets overlooked. It gets overlooked. And I know my son died when he was 6 months old, and I'd been expressing and breastfeeding when I could. And I was given no support actually around lactation suppression. And I actually had fantastic bereavement care, but that is one element of my care that was missed. So she covered that last year. We also had Sean Ness from Cuddle Cot, speaking about how to make offers of offering a cuddle cot more inclusive. There are sometimes professionals can be a bit hesitant about offering all aspects of care to a bereaved family because they're preconditioned to think that certain families want certain things when their baby has died. But actually, if we care about equitable outcomes, we should be offering everything. And if that family doesn't feel that it's the right fit for them, they'll let you know. But you should be offering cuddle cots. You should be offering memory making opportunities. And you shouldn't be withdrawing that care because of any belief that you hold. Each family is different. Day 30, Wednesday, the 13th next week, we'll be looking at infertility, assisted conception, and baby loss. Another thing that gets overlooked is the grief, the reproductive grief that is associated with assisted conception. And also looking at people that are childless but not by choice. I think maternity is here and fertility is here, and they're not very well connected. But actually, baby loss can occur with both. So I wanted to commit a day next week to looking at the loss experiences of those that have suffered from infertility and assisted fertility treatments that haven't been successful. Thursday is a new thing that we're doing this year. We're going to be looking at a different condition each year that is linked to baby loss, that carries a higher risk of baby loss. And this year we're looking at preeclampsia. And we have a fantastic doctor based in Cardiff, either Cardiff or Swansea. I think Swansea, but I may be wrong. I'll say Cardiff or Swansea. Tips is amazing. She's recorded some fantastic content for the Thursday. She's so knowledgeable, and I can't wait to share that content. And on next Friday, we're looking at financial challenges, the financial challenges that can come with baby loss. Because my son died after 24 weeks gestation, I was assisted with, I got support with his burial costs. You're entitled to that if your loss occurs after 24 weeks. But you have to know that you're entitled to it, and you have to know how to access it. Yeah, you have to know that you're entitled. Not everyone gets told that. But before 24 weeks, you're not necessarily entitled to anything. So if you do want to have a burial for your child, there are a lot of parents that have to fund that themselves. And to have to deal with that, the financial cost, and it can be very, very costly. You can't assume that because a baby has died that the cost is going to be minimal, because not a lot of funeral directors do conduct funerals for babies for free, but not all of them, sadly. And if you're at your lowest point, and then you're having to deal with the associated costs of burying your baby, because it's so important to be able to do that in the way that you need to do it. It's almost like a very final goodbye. And a lot of parents do face a lot of challenges. So basically next Friday, I'm going to be sharing information about sources of support for that, and shedding some light on the fact that not everybody gets the access to the support that they need. I don't think people think about that. I don't think people think about what happens afterwards when that family goes home and they've got to make preparations for the burial or the cremation or whatever way they want to say goodbye to their baby. I don't think people think about that very much. On the 16th, we're doing this for the first time. On the 16th, we are having a restorative retreat. So we are welcoming a small group of healthcare professionals or professionals that work within community organisations that support bereaved parents to a restorative retreat in Hackney. And we're going to have Pilates. I just sat and thought about, oh gosh, I need someone to look after me. And I know that the professionals that care for bereaved families aren't cared for very well. We're not, as a profession, we're a caring profession, but who cares for us? And when you're caring for bereaved families, it's a very emotionally heavy job. It's emotionally heavy. And we have access to debriefs with our colleagues, but sometimes you need a bit more, you need a bit more to sustain you. So as a thank you to my colleagues that do support bereaved families, for having a restorative retreat, which involves Pilates, just I can't wait, brunch, candle making. I'm that just I love a candle. So having candle making and we're having vision board making, and we don't have to talk about work. If we don't want to do Pilates, we don't have to. We can just sit there, have some nibbles, and just relax, just for a few hours in a really beautiful setting. I just wanted to do that. We deserve it. We deserve it. We can sometimes feel guilty taking care of ourselves and fulfilling our own needs, and the needs of those we care for very often come before our own. And if we have families of our own, then our families are prioritized before we are, and you become very depleted. And it's one of the reasons that midwives are leaving. They're depleted, they're burnt out. So this is my thank you, and this is my little antidote. It's our first one. There'll be many more to come, and it's completely free. It's also sold out, which is why I don't have the flyer here. I put it out, I think within 24 hours, all the tickets were gone. So that just goes to show how needed this is. And then on the last day of Black Baby Loss Awareness Week, which is next Sunday, we have national walks. So national community walks that are held across the UK. Historically, it's only been in London, but I don't even live in London anymore. I left London 2 years ago, and people are suffering loss all over the country. So it's an opportunity for people to come together. And it's May, as I said, it's a beautiful time of year, and to go on a very leisurely walk on a pre-planned route. It's bereaved parents, it's people that support bereaved parents, and it's not only open to people from the Black community, it's open to everyone. If you want to walk in support of your own loss, anyone that you know that's had a loss, go along to any of these. They're happening in all of these areas listed here, and you can find the details of them on my Instagram, and I'll also make sure that Sue has the details of them each. It's free to go, just turn up. They typically start at 1 p.m. You go on a leisurely walk, and then there might be some nibbles after, or just a little sit down. Bring your own food if you want. Some of them are in some really beautiful locations as well, especially the one in Birmingham. Gorgeous, gorgeous setting. Nottingham, another gorgeous setting. Manchester. These walks have been put on by people that are actively supporting bereaved parents. And we know that there aren't enough spaces for bereaved Black parents. So we're going on these walks to encourage them to come together in community, and anyone that supports them is also more than welcome to come as well. This is a bit more about the webinar. So this year, I'm going to see if I can move this box because there we go. So this year, these are the speakers. So we have Jordan Russell, who I mentioned earlier. She works for SANS. She's the outreach coordinator for African and Caribbean communities. I love Jordan, and I think what she and SANS do is fantastic, but I want them to tell more people about it. So I've asked Jordan to come onto the webinar and speak about her work. And right next to her is Shay. Shay works quite closely with Jordan. She's a trustee for SANS. She's a bereaved parent, and she's also a SANS befriender. SANS need more befrienders. So Shay's going to come on and speak about what being a befriender entails. And then we have the fabulous Jenna Quinn, who is a SANS volunteer. She's also a bereaved parent. Jenna will be speaking about her experience of PMRT, the PMRT process. And underneath her is Demebi, who will be speaking about the PMRT process, but from a midwife's perspective. I wanted to have the parent and the professional experience together. As midwives, we are quite used to processes. but we don't always think about how it feels for the parent that is being subjected to those processes. So I wanted to give the duality of that. Then we have China Carby. She's based in Birmingham. She is the founder of the Shire family. She founded it in remembrance of her son Shire. She's also the MNVP bereavement lead up in Birmingham as well. She'll be talking about the role of the MNVP and how the MNVP can better support bereaved Black families. We have Louisa Hendrickson. She's a bereaved parent and founder of Zion's Lighthouse. And we have the fabulous Joyce. Joyce is a specialist hemoglobinopathies midwife. She's super. I'm so chuffed that we got Joyce. She's so well respected, and she's speaking on. She accepted my invitation. That's an accomplishment for me this year. She'll be speaking about the increased risk that women with sickle cell have of experiencing perinatal loss, and how professionals can support their mental well-being going into that pregnancy, knowing they have an increased risk, and how we can better support them. I love this webinar. It's super well attended. It's a whistle-stop tour of all the topics, but if I wasn't arranging it, I'm pretty sure I'd be going. I will give you the joining link, Sue, so anyone that wants to come along can do so. So this is a bit about how you can get involved with Black Baby Loss Awareness Week. Attending the webinar is super easy. It's at 6 p.m. next Tuesday. Trust me, you're going to learn a lot, because we cover things that you may have learned as a student, but we mostly cover things that you won't have learned and things that you may not even have come across in practice. But I like to drop these little nuggets so that you can remember, that webinar I went to. If you do ever come across a family and the situation applies to what you've learned, you can actually apply that knowledge and provide the care. You can attend a national walk. You can share the assets on your intranet. So if you download the social media pack, it's linked in my bio on Instagram for both accounts, my personal Instagram, which is midwife_Alicia, and also the Black Baby Loss Awareness Instagram page. Alternatively, I'll provide the link to Sue, and you can download the assets from there, or you can organise an event of your own. It can be as simple as going up and down your ward and asking staff if they know about Black Baby Loss Awareness Week, and if they don't, signposting them to, oh, we have a website. Signposting them, it's only like a day old. That's why it isn't on here. You could signpost them to the website or the Instagram. Super easy. I see, there's a lot going on. Right. The Equitable Bereavement Care Conference. I'm always doing something. I don't seem to have the ability to just relax. So last year we had our first conference, and this is the flyer for the second one. It's going to be held in London, venue to be confirmed, but tickets will be on sale as of next week. The Equitable Bereavement Care Conference is an opportunity for bereaved Black and Asian families to share their experiences of loss, but with a focus on providing practical guidance for anyone that supports grieving Black and Asian families. So the theme for this year is transforming lived experience into clinical improvement. So every panel, every speaker will be sharing lived experience, but with a view to showing or demonstrating or giving examples of how professionals can improve care based on their lived experience. Lived experience is crucial. Lived experience is evidence, but I want to couple it with practical actions. Like I said earlier about sharing statistics, sharing stats without sharing the actions that are combating them isn't what I want to do anymore. It isn't what I want to do. I want to be focusing on the actions. So where lived experience is shared, we will also be sharing actions to improve care for other parents. I'm really excited about this conference. It's a huge undertaking. I was very, very tired afterwards, but there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And where there's nothing to fulfill a need, I tend to build it. There was nothing like this conference, so I built this one. And we have fantastic speakers. I wish I could tell you what topics the speakers are covering, but I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to, not yet. But and I like to delve into the niche topics, the things that you won't find in a textbook, because there is somebody out there doing a PhD, there is somebody that has lived it, and I'm finding these people and I'm giving them a platform to share their experience, to share their voice, and how things can be made better. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to reach me, oh, my website's not on here. That's how new it is, you see? You can reach me on Instagram or you can email me. I'm quite active on Instagram, not so much on email. It's a very busy week coming up, but if you want to get in touch, please do.
Alicia, I just love to listen to you, and all the work you're doing is absolutely fabulous. And what one of my questions was, is there a website? And you've just answered it, because there is a website, which we need to circulate around. Because I'm just thinking, I mean, I'm assuming that whole program is presented there with links to going to things like the webinar, for example. And is it going to be recorded?
It is recorded, actually.
Fabulous.
And we host it on YouTube.
Fab.
It will be on the website at some point when I learn how to do that, or get the person that set it up to do that. But all of the webinars will live on the website eventually.
Wonderful. No, that's good, because it strikes me that's a really good resource for people, because if that becomes a sort of magnet for people to come in and share, and then share it outwards, that sounds really fantastic, really good. So I love the sound of the retreat. That sounds superb. Such a good idea. And how many people will be coming to the retreat and bringing their nibbles? And they'll get some nibbles, won't they? I'm
we're going to have.
I'm so excited with all these activities going on.
So it's a small one for the first one.
Yeah.
A really sweet little venue in Hackney. And we've got, I think, 20 in total.
Wow. Fabulous.
I just wanted to keep it small and relatively intimate, because we just want people to relax. I don't want it to be, when things are too big, it can be quite overfacing.
Yeah.
But when it's nice and small and intimate, you can just relax and be your whole self.
Fabulous. I think that's so good for the carers, I think. I think your focus on supporting the carers is so important, because the other thing is, and you were talking about lived experience, I'm sure that some of the things that will come out of that is that women will say, and families will say, well, the midwife did this, and this was really helpful. And that sort of reinforces then, because sometimes you do things almost instinctively because it feels right.
Yeah.
And getting the feedback that you are getting right is very useful. But I mustn't hog all the questions. We've got some comments. Just remember, if you've got any questions for Alicia, however small or huge, she can handle them. She's really good on this. So just pop them into the discussion box on the side and they'll come through to me, which is why I'm looking away for a minute. So forgive me if I do that. Now, Vicky Robinson, hi Vicky, says, such amazing work, Alicia. I've heard you speak before, and your insightfulness and commitment is inspiring. You'll have to put that in your revalidation evidence. Fabulous.
Thank you.
So thank you, Vicky, for that feedback. That is always lovely to have. And then Mabinti Lee, hi Mabinti, says important topic for newly qualified midwives and also students. Absolutely. And then Vicky Robinson then goes then. Another bite of the cherry, Vicky. I'd love to chat about some ideas with you, Alicia. We'll message. Thanks so much. Brilliant work and so much needed, which absolutely through. So I think what really was very impactful for me was you talking about the numbers, because I think whenever I hear the numbers, I'm shocked. And I know the numbers because they've been around for a while, and you kind of think we surely should be reducing these by now. But I think you saying about that's frightening for women and families. How do you unpack that from people? Because they're hearing it on the news, they're hearing it all the way through. How do you deal with, apart from kind of linking up with them, I guess?
The advice I tend to give is to curate your social media feed. Start there because as soon as you open your phone, you're bombarded. So being quite selective, the mute button works very well. Mute certain accounts if you need to. Avoid weeks such as Black Baby Loss Awareness Week if you need to, or Baby Loss Awareness Week if you know it's going to be an emotionally challenging for you to see that all the time. Mute, unfollow, do whatever you need to do to protect your peace, and protect your well-being. Um, Advocacy. I recommend that women do advocate for their needs with the understanding and showing that I understand that advocating for yourself can be exhausting. It can be so exhausting. You can be fearful of appearing difficult. You can be fearful of appearing aggressive. And that apprehension can be so emotionally taxing. Having to advocate for yourself over and over and over again. So although I do still encourage women to advocate for their needs, I do so by verbalizing that I understand it's exhausting. And I know that it's scary knowing all these statistics are out there. But the best chance you have of improving your outcome is to continue to advocate for your care, and not just you, your partner, your mum, whoever it is, whatever your support network is, everybody has to band together and advocate. If it's whether you're having a doula, or if there's a midwife or an obstetrician that you particularly get on with, they could also be your advocates. And I also recommend that women and birthing people get in touch with consultant midwives as well, because they can unlock so much. They're so knowledgeable and they can advocate. They can be the in-between between you and an obstetrician. I know that I love a consultant midwife because I've got a very complex obstetric history. And I know that I'm not going to get as far as the consultant midwife is because she knows the processes, she knows everybody. Consultant midwives are a resource that everybody should be accessing, especially if you are navigating pregnancy after loss and those navigating pregnancy after loss, we know our needs very well. And we may have requests that are outside of guidelines. And I tell women all the time that the best chance you have of getting your needs fully met is by navigating your care through a consultant midwife. The knowledge is there. And their clinics, I love their clinics. They just get stuff done. They just get stuff
Well,
done.
this is a bonus call for consultant midwives. That's fantastic. It's lovely because there aren't enough of them in a way, are there? But you're right, they are the people to get things done because they're kind of the chief signposter navigator and kind of font of knowledge, which is fantastic. Yeah, gosh.
And what I'm enjoying is that I think we are moving away from just raising awareness and we're looking at solutions as well. So 5 times more had their Black Maternal Health Awareness Week last week, and their overriding theme was leading with solutions and not trauma. And it was the most uplifting week. I was really, really, really engaged, and I'm going to copy that. I'm going to lead with that next week as well, because baby loss is sad, baby loss is traumatic, it always will be.
Of course.
But I need to lead with the people that are pushing for change and the people that are creating change and are driving the action.
Absolutely, because I mean there are solutions, and I think you've illustrated what you can change things. We can all change things, and it's actually very much about trying to link in with the individual person, but not make assumptions about that person for whatever reason.
Precisely.
This is going to fit you and this is going to fit you because we just don't know. I mean, what about continuity of care in this context?
It's absolutely vital. No, it's absolutely vital. And I made sure that I got it in my pregnancies because I don't want to keep re-traumatizing myself by restating what's happened. And we know that this re-traumatizes families.
Mm.
But I have a lot to say around continuity of carer. And I think it's an absolute must for families that have experienced loss.
Mm.
It's an absolute must. We want to avoid preventable loss.
Mm.
We want to avoid re-traumatizing families.
Mm.
A familiar face that knows you, that knows your story, that is aware of your needs and can negotiate on your behalf is a no-brainer.
Mm.
So that's my view there, Sue.
And that's absolutely so. I mean, let's face it, if everyone had continuity of care, that's probably half the solution, isn't it? Oh, now I've got things coming through again. This is Wendy Elizabeth Ainsworth. Hi, Wendy. Thank you for such an inspirational insight. Would love to work with you going forward from an educationist perspective. Well, you'll have actually the best way of getting hold of Alicia is her Instagram.
Yeah, Sue knows
Sadly,
that.
I'm not. I need to be. I need to have some education with you, Alicia. Maybe next week at the festival about using Instagram. I just can't get to grips with it. I think it's
And
all
it
the
keeps
other things.
changing. I don't worry, Sue, I've got you.
Oh, good. And then another comment. We've got Ruth N. And she says, brilliant topic, and thanks for highlighting we need to get all aspects right, as those are not spoil the care, spoil good care. That's absolutely so. That's absolutely. I'm just sort of thinking about the and the therapies. You had a list of therapies. I was interested in that. I was interested in everything you had to say, but I like the therapies. What sort of therapies are kind of being explored in the context
Of loss.
black baby loss?
So we're going to look at counselling after loss, and I'm hoping to have a few testimonials about the impact that counselling following loss has had. We're going to be looking at CBT and also
CBT. What does that stand for, Alicia?
cognitive behavioural therapy. Sorry.
That's for those who don't know that.
We've got a fantastic therapist who will be doing some content for us around that.
Fab.
The thing with therapy is it isn't always very accessible, which can be a barrier to bereaved families actually accessing it. So I also want to cover examples of therapy that are cost-free or very low cost, because it is all about equitable care. So we're going to be looking also at movement as a means of therapy.
Okay.
Because when you're in a bit of a funk and you go, I don't know, you go for a walk, you feel a bit better afterwards. And movement can be used as a means of, it doesn't necessarily resolve the feelings that you have after loss, but it can be part of your self-care and a way of you trying to get back to yourself and a way of processing how you're feeling. So I don't just want it to be traditional therapy, but different means of therapy, because different things work for different people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I think that's a good point. And the movement, I like the talk about Pilates.
Oh, I've never done Pilates, but it looks good.
It's not like the old-fashioned aerobics, which might be, I mean, it's the individuality of it, really. You really have underlined that. But Pilates, it seems very relaxed and kind of positive from that point of view. No, that's grand. That's grand. And then I had the walk and talk. Now, this one I think was such a super idea. Well, because I guess some women and families might be walking but not talking very much, and others would be talking and just getting to know other families in quite a relaxed way. And I know that when I've been in walks before, it's a lovely way of kind of connecting with people without it being threatening.
Exactly. It's so informal. You just rock up. You can come by yourself or you can bring people with you. I went to one once where people had like t-shirts with their babies' names on.
Oh, wow.
For actually, there are t-shirts. So the Shire family, China, speaking at the webinar, she's made some t-shirts for the walk. And you can have the name of your baby on the back. So you can at the back it says walking in memory of, or it says walking in support of. I can put the link for that in. I can send you the link for that as well. So if people wanted to attend the walk with a t-shirt on, they could as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just, you walk on a pre-planned route. It's really leisurely. You're not trying to get out of breath, just taking your time, and you get to meet new people. And it tends to be that if you are by yourself, someone will come over and say hi. There'll be a group of a team of supporters on hand on the day. They'll be wearing specific t-shirts so you know who's organising the walk and who you can go to for support. They'll be there to provide support for anyone that's struggling, answer any questions anyone may have, just to provide general support on the day. And they tend to seek out people that are walking on their own and just striking up a conversation and just making everyone feel as involved and a part of the walk as possible.
Mm.
And you can leave it when you want to, take a seat, step off if you want to, or you don't even have to do the walk. You can just meet at the ending point.
Yeah, I think that sounds, because I think the other thing about being bereaved is you're often very tired. So sometimes it's just too much of an effort, but this is a sort of a pick and mix of what you do. And I think for those of you who are watching, this might be something you might want to try, because this is what's lovely about Alicia. She's come up with a huge program of fantastic things, and it's especially the webinar. I would really suggest you tap into that, because that will be good. That will be good, definitely, and something that you will learn new things. But you might, this is part of the beauty of coming along on a Wednesday evening, because you're learning things. You can try some of this out. And if I was doing this, I'd come on one of your walks. And then I'd think, oh, I'm going to try this around Hertfordshire now, because, this is needed. And I think what's fabulous about the project is it has spread out.
It's
from sitting on the floor and starting with that lovely logo. And your new logo is even lovelier. But they're both fun. But it's just spreading out, and there's something about sharing, which is great, because this is what Alicia is very much about sharing, because the whole aim is to improve things.
Yeah, it
is. Women and families who are going through a horrible experience or have gone through a horrible experience and need that support.
People in as many places as possible. In the first couple of years, I'd get messages from people asking if we'd be doing things in their area, and I'd have to keep saying no, and I'm really sorry, it's just on Instagram. And then it was, I'm sorry, it's only in London. And now there are 8 walks.
Fabulous.
There's even one in Wales, for goodness sake. And who knows whether what next year will bring.
You need one in Scotland. Have you not got one in Scotland?
We haven't, but I'm working on it. Definitely working on it, because loss happens all over.
It does. It does. I'm going to have to invite you for next year, Alicia, because the program next year will be even bigger. Now I've got Vicky Robinson. Hello, Vicky again. There was also the theme at last week's Asylum and Migrant Women and Children's Health Conference I went to last week. It really motivated one there to hear about projects and groups that help and work with communities to make real changes and differences. And I think it sort of makes you feel as though you can do something and help.
Right. And it doesn't have to be something huge. It could be putting on a walk. It could be literally walking down your ward and telling people about what's going on. That's simple. But
this means your homework, dear listeners and watchers, is you'll need to go onto this website when we've got it loaded up, and that's just a technical issue, and access some of the information that Alicia shared, and have a go at some of them. Certainly, the webinar is certainly, that's the first thing. Now, I always say this is the fastest hour in the week, and this hour is no different. So, Alicia, first of all, I'm putting in a bid for you to come this time next year, please.
Of course, I'll be there.
You'll have taken over the world by then anyway. And say a huge thank you to you for making time, because I know you're really busy, but I also know this is very close to your heart, and we need to share this information. So those of you who've come in this evening, do share with your colleagues and have a discussion about what could you do in your locality. And Alicia will be very happy if you contact her, and she can, if she doesn't have the time, she'll contact you a bit later. But you know, this will help because it needs to be all over the UK, and in actual fact all over the world really. But we'll start with the UK. That'll do us. That'll do us. So thank you so much, Alicia. Thank you also to Angelo, who's behind the scenes making sure everything's recorded, so that you will get access to this whole webinar again on, well, you get a podcast on Friday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning for those of you who like running to your podcast or listening to it in the car. And it'll also come out with next week's newsletter on now is it Wednesday or Thursday, I think. So you can access this, and you should be able to get it on YouTube if you're very cunning at finding it. You just put Alicia's name in, you'll find it. And next week, we're actually at the Midlands Midwifery and Maternity Festival. And guess what? So's Alicia. So if you want to come and meet Alicia face to face, she's there. And we're at Cranwell Park Conference Centre in Solihull, and we've got some superb speakers, including Alicia, but we've got Beth Mallory, who was talking about language of loss. We've got Sally Pizzera talking about challenging midwifery, and Jenny Hall talking about what difference a midwife makes. And we're having a bit of stuff about standing up for midwives. That's something a little bit, and there's lots more on the programme. So if you haven't booked, try and book in, either face to face, then you can meet the lovely Alicia, or online if you prefer that. And so we'll take some highlights from next week, because I don't think I can get back in time for the maternity hour. So that's what will be available. And again, I'm going to say a big take care of yourselves, and we'll see you this time next week, same place, same time. And in the meantime, just take care of you and yours. And thank you, Alicia.
Thank you for having me.
Awards, as you know, are a celebration of achievement, effort, change, innovation, management, insight, and the many other traits necessary to sustain a proud profession like midwifery and consistent services in maternity.
We invite people to nominate a colleague or a student or a manager, whatever, where they think that person's real trailblazers.
And it's really a celebration of all that's good in midwifery and maternity care.
They recognise individuals, they recognise teams, management and educators, anyone who values excellence and makes improvements. They are essentially a celebration of all of your achievements. So, shall we get on with it? What you do with your day-to-day lives, I just admire you hugely. If you do want to nominate a colleague, a friend, maybe yourself, please speak to the organisers and visit the website, and I really hope that we'll see you at that.
Okay, now the first award is. What's
nothing? I don't know.
We have had a 40% caesarean section rate